But now we're going to hopefully get into some lighter news, which is CES coverage. We made it through the headlines. Now we're getting into the nitty gritty. We'll also try and get you guys through this so you're not here too long. We'll start off with one of the things that caught my eye, which is Samsung's new micro RGB TVs.
Yes.
You might be saying CES TVs, boring, 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 but I think that this new technology, again, when it comes down in price, will be great for everybody. The TV, instead of relying on backlight filters, has a new optical trickery that makes colors look brighter, more saturated, the same Samsung kind of thing, the thing that pleases the eye for most of us. Samsung uses sub 100 micrometer red, green, and blue LEDs, which are essentially microscopic LEDs that light up independently. Every pixel is its own lit RGB light show. And again, since they use so many of them, the idea of them burning out and leaving little dots is lessened by this. The color, I think they say that it hits 100% of the BT dot 2020 color gamut. They say practically zero blooming. HDR that doesn't wash out the retinas, which can happen if you exhaust them by putting too much contrast and color boosting in there. And it has a level of precision that makes animated films look like they're printed on glass, which again, that's what they're saying. Let's see if I can get some footage from CES on that. What are your thoughts on this new technology coming to the TV, or at least for Samsung?
I think I agree with you. It catches my attention, and I think all of the bright, shiny TVs catch my attention at CES. I'm one of those people. I'm actually in the market for a TV and surround sound system. I love to have a place at home or that's comfortable to be able to sit down and enjoy content in a semi movie like atmosphere. So the closer we get, the more efficient we do it. As you mentioned here with these TVs, the better off it is. Now, as with everything else in the TV land, it'll start out at 10 grand or more in 2026, and maybe by 2027, 2028, it'll actually make it to the $1,500, $1,000, $2,000 TV, where the average person can reach it. It's kind of like what in my shopping, kind of what the mini LEDs have done. I remember a couple years ago when mini LED was the great thing at CES. Now the mini LED TVs are affordable, and the OLEDs are slowly dropping in price and are somewhat affordable depending on what your budget is and which one you choose. So kudos to Samsung on this one. I like it.
As far as the hardware is concerned, they come in four sizes so far: 65-inch, 75-inch, 85-inch, and 130. For those of you who are rich,
and my buddy says he wants two of the 130s.
Yes, I would love to review these, Samsung. Send them my way. Otherwise, I will never be seeing those probably in real life ever. The other thing that they have going for them is that they all have the super thin bezels. But the interesting thing is they are now applying a glare-free coating, which they got. Most TVs don't have it. So now you get, when the TV's off, there's just lights reflecting off of everything. There's also a wireless one connect ready. So you can organize your cables and things like that. And then it's a full micro RGB full feature stack. So, I mean, I am looking forward to these TVs, like you said, coming down in price and asking a chance to review those or buy them if we, necessarily are able to. The next thing we got going for us is I'm going to jump into robots because, I mean, as far as TVs are concerned, that was the biggest thing I think we got from them. Let me see if there's any other news. Oh, well, I take that back. They also have some more affordable ones. So, not everything is crazy expensive, but there is a R85H, which is the Gateway Micro RGB, which comes in sizes 55-inch, 65, 75, 85, 90, and 100-inch. Again, these are the more accessible micro RGB models. They're meant to replace the old Neo QLED tier of Samsung devices. So I think those are the ones you see mostly at Best Buy
They are.
in the boxes versus on display necessarily. And you probably get them at a pretty solid deal in Target if you still shop there. You do lose HDR10 plus advanced with this, tier coming down in pricing, but you still get, again, the full RGB LED backlighting, 100% support for the Rec. 2020 color gamut, and it has the same AI engine, which I'm about to get into, as the other models, the higher end models. And this AI engine is called, let me see if I got this correct. What is this thing called? The Vision AI Companion. This thing sounds interesting. It's basically Samsung's, we're done pretending TVs aren't computers anymore, and you get this whole, imagine a chatbot sort of thing integrated into this. What are your thoughts on them just offering a cheaper version before we move on? I think it's great.
I think you've got to at this point. Everybody's pinching pennies, and I'm not gonna make fun of those that make the money to buy that $7, $8, $9, $10,000 TV. I'm glad you're able to do that, but just that group of people is not going to, help the balance sheet at the end of the year for Samsung. And something affordable, I think right now is what people are looking for. So I'm all for it. I know I'm going to be, like I said, TV shopping. So I will, look and see what they consider affordable. Is it $1,000? Is it $1,500? Is it $2,000? Or is it $4,000? Which is it? But I think as LG, Samsung, and we mentioned Hisense earlier, as these new TVs come out, I think it's important to keep an affordable line in your lineup, or you just turn people away at this point. Now, what you're showing there with AI and being able to do all that, I think that's just part of the next evolution of AI. Not to change the topic here, we've got AI monitors this year at CES that are analyzing what's on your screen. So it's only natural that we're seeing it in TVs as well.
Well, let's pivot to that. I think one of the ones that we're pairing up is with, is it Dell? I think it is, right?
Dell's got one, and then Lenovo had the gaming version.
All right, well, let's go to the Lenovo one first. Make sure I get all my notes.
Let me make sure I get this up.
Okay, so we have, as far as the Lenovo lineup, because they came out with a bunch of stuff, a ton of stuff actually, but we're going to cover some of the higher end things that we like, which is the ThinkPad X Mode Carbon Aura Edition. I think that was a pretty nice upgrade for them. And that will be, I think they also have a, a Snapdragon version of those, which I'm looking forward to. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they have that. It's got a redesign, major redesign with this new space frame, which you and I were talking offline about, which is where they basically put components on both sides of the motherboard to basically free up some space. So now you have, you can put wider trackpads in and better heat sinks and all of that business. So ideally, they should be a little bit quieter than the jet engines they used to be. They come with an Intel Core Ultra X7 Series 3 processor. They have scored a 9 out of 10 in iFixit repairability, which, they're still able to keep that. And they're supposed to be lighter, more durable, with improved thermals. I think they're also adding a coating on top of the keys themselves, so that I think for those of you who obviously use laptops and type a lot, you realize that the oils from your fingers get absorbed under the keys and then they get placed onto your monitor, because obviously when you're closing your laptop, you keep closing it on top of the monitor. So ideally putting this new coating on should reduce that, so you don't have to keep so many, what are those called? Microfiber cloths around you and everywhere. So there was that. There's also the Lenovo Yoga Pro 9i Aura Edition and the Yoga Pro 7i Aura Edition. or editions are pretty nice. They've also improved the hardware on these too. These look a little bit more like the MacBooks themselves, but Lenovo really kind of went crazy with some of their designs. You'll be able to uh, organize these with or arrange these with a Core 9 Intel Core Ultra 9 Series 3 CPUs, NVIDIA, and paired with an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5070 GPUs. They obviously will be coming with, I think, the coveted Pro Tandem OLED, which was mentioned a lot during CES, which will give you a display up to 3.2K resolution and 1600 nits of brightness. They have a new Force trackpad, which finally they are implementing haptic touchpads across the board, not just on a handful of devices. And it also comes with an interesting drawing surface. So you could basically double the trackpad as kind of like your, if you were just using it for quick signatures or things of that nature, you'll be able to take a pen, which attaches to the back of the device magnetically, and draw if you need to in the enlarged trackpad area, or just sign your name and things that you need to for that. Then lastly, there is the Yoga Slim series and the Yoga Mini that they also introduced. So it obviously expands the ultra portable lineup with Snapdragon, Intel, and AMD options, plus a compact 600G Yoga Mini desktop, which is, I think, was the little puck thing that they introduced. It looks really cool.
That was neat looking.
Yeah, and this thing can support up to 4 displays all at once. So for those of you who are, graphic artists or stock traders, things of that nature, this seems to be the thing for you. What do you think about Lenovo's crazy lineup? Because that was just the business consumer PCs. They also, I think, to your mention, they also had a gaming one. You can go in the Legion after this.
Well, Lenovo has always been very supportive of our website and our content, and we have been lucky enough to review their content. But even if I review their products, even if I take that out of context, Lenovo always brings it to the table at CES, and then they'll have another event, usually about halfway through the year, where they bring you some more. They always push the boundary of technology, and they always have these prototype devices that they put out there and say, look, this is what we can do. But if you'll notice, they don't always take the prototype devices away from you. Like, I know you reviewed one last year, maybe the year before, that was the stackable screens, kind of like what you just showed here in the video for those that are able to see it. You reviewed something like that was a prototype style device, but they went ahead and produced it. Now, how many they produced or how many they sold, I don't know. But they did produce it. Kind of like something I'm going to bring up here. The rollable screen on the Legion 7i laptop. I've seen, my sister-in-law has one. I have seen the monitors that you can add to the left and to the right of your laptop and clamp it on. It works. It works. The concept works. The concept is clunky to deal with. And then I saw Lenovo was going to do this, and I'm like, well, this makes sense because we've got folding phones. So we've seen that we can fold phones. Samsung has been tinkering, not in the US yet, with a trifold phone. So we're seeing that we can fold screens a little bit wider. There's evidence that the Apple folding screen, the screen itself, was spotted somewhere at CES. I have seen that. That is supposedly a crease-free screen of some sort. Well, now Lenovo says here, for gamers, competitive gamers, not me, probably not you, competitive gamers that take these to these professional gaming tournaments and get paid can pull up to their competitive battle station, roll out their screen, and have a up to 21-inch experience on that device.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool to me. I mean, have I seen it in hand? Would I love to? Absolutely. I would jump in with both feet for the opportunity just to have 15 minutes with this thing to see how it worked, how Windows handled it, and then, how games handled the screen, internally. Does it, is there black bars? Does it treat it really as one screen? Does it see it as several screens? How is it viewed? So, you mentioned the Aurora lineup, which is always a top tier lineup in the productivity creative series. But Lenovo always brings it to the table. They always do. Asus, they brought some good stuff this year. They tweaked their stuff, but Lenovo kind of goes, okay, we're just going to take this little drive in the left field and show you what we can do. And I
Yeah,
look forward to that every year.
there's a piece over at Windows Central, and I think it's pretty interesting. I'm kicking myself for not writing it myself.
Okay.
But they have named Lenovo the Surface. They have taken over the crown of the Surface line, the brand that experimented, did crazy things, ventured out of its comfort zone. Over the last 3 years, we've seen Microsoft kind of cocoon itself under what will sell, and that's basically your standard Surface Pro and Surface Laptop. And then they make smaller variations of the two. We used to get the Surface Laptop Studio. We got the Surface Studio. We got the Surface Book. We had the Surface Duo. Like, that was back when they were experimenting. Now it seems like Lenovo, which had always been doing this, is now going to be taking the throne. With that being said, though, we're going to move on to our next PC, which is Asus. Asus, we were just talking about them, refining their lineup, but they are delivering a pretty ambitious lineup, which spans dual screen laptops, creator laptops, and Snapdragon powered ultraportables. This, I think, the biggest eye-catching thing that they had at the event was the ZenBook Duo, which is this double
stack screen.
Double stack screen, yeah. It's basically a foldable, but in the size of a PC, basically. They've re-engineered the chassis, redesigned it with beryllium. It comes with basically two 14-inch with screens with support up to 3000 resolution OLEDs. It's powered by an Intel Core Ultra X9 series processor, and comes with a 99 watt-hour dual battery system for extended runtime. The hinge has been reintroduced, re-engineered so that it kind of hides itself a little bit better. Again, this is the same thing that Samsung has been doing over time. I think Lenovo has a version of this thing. They use a hinge more than they use the combined screen technology that Lenovo is. Asus is. So Lenovo went with the Samsung version, while Asus kind of went with the Z Fold kind of thing, where we're gonna have the one screen. They also have the ProArt GoPro edition, which is a content creator focused convertible, and it's in partnership obviously with GoPro. It has a built-in GoPro cloud, so you can access StoryCube AI, and it also has a 3K OLED option, which is touchscreen enabled, and it comes with an AMD Ryzen AI Max plus 395 processor. What are your thoughts on Asus also keeping up with being weird and wonky? And would you buy any of these?
Yes, I would buy one in particular. The first one that you talked about, the Duo, with the ZenBook Duo with the stacked double screens. There was a YouTuber that did a nice video on this where they showed that even Asus is saying you won't break it. So what did they do? They took I believe it was a 20-pound weight and put on the hinge, and that was part of the demo. That they just let the weight sit there, because the particular YouTuber that did it was told you can pick that weight up and put, as long as you sit it back down on our screen. So he picked the weight up just to show that the screen flexed back, to where it was supposed to be, and then put the weight back. The screen didn't break. Interesting. I would buy that one, and I would also buy this year the ProArt that you just mentioned, because that's going to be a very popular model, I think, because it's based on the AMD AI 395 Max. Boy, that's a mouthful. There's no discrete GPU. That was a big mention. There's no discrete GPU in that one because the claim is, I've not tested that APU yet, but the claim is that that particular APU can get up to a 4060, 4070 discrete graphics performance. So you've got something there that would work well for creators and lightweight gamers. So you take that discrete GPU out, what did you do? You just increased your battery life almost exponential. So
Yeah.
there you've got something very attractive there.
I agree with everything you said. I would try those two as well. Obviously, Asus and Lenovo have other products we cover, so go check out the website for details on those. But we just thought those are two of the, bigger headline catching laptops. Last but not least, and I think the biggest one that kind of caught everyone's attention is actually an old classic, an oldie but goodie, and it's Dell's XPS brand with the all new XPS
Back,
14 and XPS 16. Yes, they are no longer premium or whatever weird nomenclature they had. I believe the head or CEO, one of the top executives, I don't know if it's exactly that, came out on stage and literally apologized to Dell owners and said, "You guys were right. We were wrong. We shouldn't have changed the name. We got over our britches in getting fancy with trying to consolidate our name and make it easy for everybody. The easiest thing was to stick with what everybody knew." What's more interesting is not only did they listen, but they listened to all of, it seems like a lot of the major complaints that everyone had as far as the design and the changes they made when they went to this more futuristic, and I think, what was it, the haptic, whatever they were called, light up keys for the function pad. They got rid of all that, and they made it basically, and in my opinion, and there's nothing wrong with about this, but kind of a Mac clone, and it looks great. It's been redesigned, and it comes, again, you can configure it with an Intel Core Ultra 3 processor, which is now being dubbed Panther Lake. And it has its integrated Intel graphics, 12 Xe cores, delivering up to about, what they say, about 50% more power or GPU power, and 78% on the 16-inch model. Now, this is going to be interesting because you and I were talking about, Mike, what do you do when you don't have access to integrated NVIDIA graphics? We'll have to see if Intel can do what they need to do. But this also has a tandem OLED display, which supports up to 3.2K resolution with 120 hertz refresh rate and Dolby Vision support. It's supposed to be an ultra-thin 14.6 millimeter chassis. Again, it also has a CNC aluminum build, which means it's all from one piece of aluminum, which, that's what Apple used to pride itself on years ago. Gorilla Glass for the screen, and again, return of the physical function keys. It has improved repairability, a modular USB-C ports, and an easy to remove keyboard. It's a couple screws under the bottom. You take the whole thing off. Battery life is said to be about 27 hours on a 2K LCD configurations. Again, they've been doing some early testings with these Intel chips. A lot of people saying that they haven't overshot or undershot the mark like they normally do. So this is a good sign. Prices, I think, start at around 2,000 for the 14-inch and about 22 for the 16-inch, if I'm not mistaken. But eventually, they will get down to, I think, they're aiming at about $1,600 for the 14-inch and $1,800 sometime in March. So anybody who's buying between January and March, they expect to pay a little bit more, but they will eventually come down in price, I've been told. So I'm super happy for these. Like I said, these designs look pretty great. For those of you who are listening, like I said, picture a MacBook with flatter keys that kind of go edge to edge. That's the only difference. They've also gotten rid of the speaker grills. So the design that used to be there is no longer there. And I believe the 16-inch got rid of the keypad, the number pad.
I believe it did.
So they just centered the large trackpad. Oh, also the trackpad on the old ones was flush. Nobody knew where it started and where it ended. This one has a kind of some, subtle ridges to let you know that, these are the borders of the trackpad, which are great. What are your thoughts on that before we jump out of PCs?
Thank you, Dale. Thank you for listening, and thank you for doing this, because I've always been a fan of Dell PCs and really a fan of their gaming lineup. But when it comes to just standard Dell PCs, they had really lost my interest over the past year because you couldn't tell the difference between Dell Premium, Dell Pro, and whatever the other thing was. And I just kept saying, and I said it to you several times last year, just bring the XPSs back and put the premiums over there and put them back like they were. I would greatly appreciate that. And I would actually go purchase one because I just didn't feel the Pro and the Premium. It just didn't, something there didn't vibe for me. And obviously I was not the only one. So I'm glad to see these back. Interesting to see what people think of them when they're out in people's hands. And I'm sure they're going to live up to people's expectations, because very rarely do you see a company like this go, hey, yeah, we screwed up. Here's your laptop back.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be pretty good.
We also have HP. Is it HP? Yes, HP.
Yeah, the Elite board. Yes.
If you're a super minimalist to the extent of being ridiculous, right here. This is you right here. This is the HP Elite Board G1A, which is basically a keyboard with the computer attached or computer built inside. Comes with an AMD Ryzen AI 3000 series processor with up to 50 TOPS CPU performance, integrated Radeon 800M graphics, and up to 64 gigabytes of DDR RAM, and a 2 terabyte NVMe SSD storage, an optional 32 watt hour internal battery for about 3.5 plus hours of mobile use. Dual microphones. They put speakers on this thing, an optional fingerprint reader, spill resistance keyboard design. It's also modular, serviceable components, replaceable keys for the keyboard. And you can replace the RAM, fan, speakers, and Wi-Fi modules if you wanted to. This thing ships March 2026. You and I were talking, why haven't more people made just putting, instead of having to send a mini PC with keyboard and mouse attached, as part of the overall package, put it all in one. See how far you can get with this thing.
Well, I'm a weirdo. Now, just to give you 10 seconds. I live in a very rural area. To get to a large corporate town, you're talking 45-minute drive. I like being in a rural area. I like being able to walk outside, do the things I want to do, but sometimes I miss technology and easier access to technological things. I get that. So I find myself watching a lot of day in the life videos, like a day in the life of an Amazon programmer, day in the life of a Google worker. I've watched some of those. And, something that you see with those a lot is they bring their laptop in, the two monitors are sitting there, the dock is sitting there, and they pick whatever, maybe it's a sign, maybe it's not, but they pick a workstation, they plug their laptop in, they go to work. So when this was announced this week, that was the first thing that come to mind. You work at a place like that, you pull up to your, cubby or whatever you want to call it, you just plug your keyboard in and away you go. You don't have to worry about battery. You don't have to worry about anything. Just plug it in and go. So I get it. I could see this being popular on the consumer side. I could see companies buying this for their employees and providing them with a monitor and a dock. Just plug it in, or even a USB-C monitor. Just plug it in. You're at work.
Yeah. We're going to fly through our next section. We just want to make sure we keep you guys abreast, but we don't really need to get into it because we've talked about these already. But here are the announcements for chipsets, because there were several of these. We have NVIDIA's Vera Rubin Superchip, which offers 100 petaFLOPS of AI computing, 88 NVIDIA custom Olympus CPU cores, and 2 terabytes of fast memory. This is basically a processor for servers, the upcoming AI factories that will be planted in your backyard, sucking up your water and
your power,
your electricity. Yes. So NVIDIA announced those during CES. We also got an announcement about AMD's Ryzen AI for laptops processor. This thing, its key announcements include Helios AI server racks, AMD's next generation AI infrastructure platform, Instinct M i400 GPU series designed for large-scale AI training and workloads. Ryzen's AI embedded processors for IoT as well. We're all during part of the announcement. And they have different pricing tiers for those. You can go check our website for that information, or you can look around online as well. One of the ones I found more interesting during the announcements was our buddies over at Intel. This, I say, is a make or break year. They announced their Core Ultra Series 3, which has built-in Intel graphics, ARC graphics. This is where they're saying, trust us, PC makers, we don't need sticking NVIDIA. And maybe they could be the savior that everybody needs to devalue NVIDIA stock and get everyone off of the dependence on a company that's pivoting towards AI anyway. They're targeting next generation laptops, handheld gaming form factors as well. And I think they announced during this too, which is, I didn't get a ton of headlines, but they're making a gaming chip based on Core Ultra Series 3 with more details to come later this year. I don't know if they're going to make their own handheld. I think there was a rumor about that as well. Then there's Qualcomm expanding its X series. Obviously they talked about the X2 Elite, but I think there was a Plus that they were announced as well, which should be offering mid-range performance, meaning you also get mid-range pricing for those. Then they had the Dragon Wing Q series, which is, I believe, their processor for IoT. So they are going, they're making the leap from phones into everything essentially. And if their phone endeavors over the last year or two or anything to show for it, I'm looking forward to the IoT stuff. I think those are our headlines as far as chips are concerned. I don't know if you want to chime in with anything or if we move on to the next section.
I hope Intel lives up to their promise, and I'm going to keep it at that because we need Intel. I think the market needs Intel, more companies, more competition. The consumer always wins. Kind of like this graphic you've got here on the screen, Snapdragon. If they come out and they compete with, Intel, and Intel competes with them, consumer wins. So we need Intel to do well this year. Make or break, as you said.
Yeah. Moving on to our next story and a couple more, and then we'll let you guys out of here. We got foldables. Foldables were relatively present at CES this year. We got more people getting their hands on. I think some people had already bought the Samsung trifold. The Z trifold is what I think the full title is. And people were, talking about that one. If you want the specific specs, we got a 10-inch inner display, which is, its big selling point. We got 6.5 inches on the cover display, the outer one, usually what most people refer to it as. Its thickness is about 12.9 millimeters folded, 3.9 millimeters unfolded. So when it's folded, it's roughly the size of an old, I think this Z Fold 5, if I'm not mistaken. It has a Snapdragon 8 Elite processor, which we were just talking about. Those are going to be fairly decent. It has a battery of 54 to 5600 milliamps, depending on the source. The cameras are about the same. They haven't really improved them, but it's 200 megapixels, a 12 megapixel, a 10 megapixel setup as well. Software includes One UI 8, but I think 8.5 should be out by then, and that's offering its own version, its own take on glass UI, so to speak. Obviously, they will come with desktop mode, and it's on the device, so you'll be able to use you won't need to connect it to a monitor to trigger it. You'll be able to, on that 10-inch screen, kind of use it like a mini Tab S series device. And then you'll have a haptic warning if you fold it the wrong way, because there is a specific way to fold these devices, and I think it's a little different than what was offered by what was the other company that had a trifold?
Was it OnePlus?
I think it might have been. Like their version, you could fold it a different way, and the way that theirs folded actually made more sense than this one. But hey, a foldable's a foldable. So what are your thoughts on that? Or do you want to just jump straight into its competitor that was also announced?
I'm just going to say this. Do people want this? That is my question, because it looks interesting. Would love to see it. Would love to try it. There's one thing missing. One thing. And it may be there. Nobody has shown it. Where is the stand when this thing is in tablet mode?
Your hands, my friend. Get those sturdy hands with opposable thumbs. Use them. I guess, and that's what the marketing says. I'm not sure.
Maybe that's what they're thinking here, but that's the first thing that comes to my mind is, somebody is going to want to unfold that,
Yeah,
sit it down on a table, and enjoy some content.
I'm sure it's gonna have some
Where
integrated case with a kickstand.
where's the stand, or is it some type of case? And if you can put a case on it, how does that work? That would be my questions.
All valid questions. We'll get into that when I think more people get their hands on it. But it looks like fun. I'll definitely go play around with it at an
Yeah.
AT&T store or something like that. The competitor that just showed up though, and it took a lot of that undercut a lot of its hype was a Motorola Razor Fold. It's the first book style foldable from Motorola. And that one, let me see if I can get us to that video because that one doesn't look like it's a crazy improvement. It's definitely not a trifold, but it does come with some specs that offer an 8.1-inch inner display, LTPO in 2K resolution, 6.6-inch outer display, so it's a little bit wider for full phone functionality, triple 50 megapixel rear camera setup, which offers a main, ultra wide, and macros, and a 3x periscope telephoto. The biggest thing is the stylus support. It comes with a Moto Pen Ultra. Obviously has AI features, chipset, which is using a Snapdragon 8 series, Gen 5. So it's not it won't have the same sort of power as the next gen Samsung phones. But I mean, the 8s have so far been really good phones. And it offers 256 gigs and 512 gigabytes of storage, comparatively speaking. And it has, I think you can also get a design with a vegan leather finish on one of the, I guess on the outer side of it, which, I feel is pretty nice. It feels better than glass sometimes. Again, it's positioning itself as the more affordable alternative, but I don't know if we got any pricing on it just yet. But I do like that they included a pen. It is something that I think Samsung will be forced to bring back.
Included the pen. Now, I'm going to have to say I have never owned. No, I haven't. I have never owned a Motorola phone. This might be the first one that I would actually go purchase.
You might be onto it. And before we round up the section, I wanted to bring up that we're talking about this in context of the potential iPhone foldable phone that everyone's been getting super hyped about. The rumor of that one is that it's going to be more of a booklet style. So it's going to be shorter but wider, which is kind of probably more akin to what the Pixel, somewhere between the Pixel Fold and the Surface Duo. I think the Surface Duo was right on with it. Dual screens. Maybe you don't necessarily need an outer screen. I still use mine. It's great for reading, things like that. So it'll be interesting to see how people jump on it. The rumored spec so far is that it will have a launch window between, the normal phone time, September 2026. And it'll come with an inner display that's 7.5 to 7.8 inches, which offer a 4.3 aspect ratio. So it's more like a iPad mini, essentially. Outer display 5.5 inches. The thickness is about 4.5 millimeters open, 9 millimeters closed. So it's thinner than iPad Pro. It'll have a case-free display, a hinge that should be, they say hidden, but everyone says they can hide theirs. I do believe that Samsung's working on more hinge technology, and theirs is pretty good right now for the Z Fold 7. Obviously, it'll offer Touch ID, no Face ID, ironically. And have a battery 54 to 5,800 milliamps, depending on the phone, and somewhere priced between $2,000 and $2,500. Too high, but it'll be interesting to see everyone if they all pivot towards following Apple in its booklet style pivot, which I think it was the way to go. I think phones maybe getting too tall. This remote control version of phones is becoming. I think it's hit its mark. I think we should start designing things for wider screens and give people more time to open and enjoy versus constantly just scrolling up and up.
I think we're slowly inching our way toward consumers owning less devices and buying these foldable phones and going, okay, give me a keyboard to attach to that when I need to do more intensive tasks at my desk. Otherwise, I'm good. So you've got your 5G connectivity, you've got your Wi-Fi when you need it. And I think there's a time and a place where even Wi-Fi is less needed as 5G, 6G, 7G, and whatever else we're going to have. So I think, when I first started seeing these phones, I was like, we don't need this. And maybe we don't now. But I think we're starting to see a trend of, well, my phone works. I can pay my power bill, pay my mortgage, pay my water bill. I can shop for groceries. I got my Instacart. I got my DoorDash. I got my Best Buy. I got my Facebook. I got my Twitter. I got my TikTok, Instagram, etc. Everybody's doing it on their phones these days. So I think it's just natural progression to now we're foldables. And I think now that we'll hit these trifolds, we'll get to a point where you have a DeX type setup where you put it on a table and you've got your mouse and keyboard. And maybe this is what replaces our standalone tablets, possibly.
Yeah, I wrote a report about a review essentially of the Samsung Tab S10 Plus that I took on vacation with me as my only computing device. And if you're someone who doesn't create content, you consume it. It's a great device. It's amazing how PC it is. And we're getting a 10-inch tablet that turns into a phone, or a phone that turns into a tablet. I think at this point, to what you're saying, people will now start subsidizing their PC purchases by saying, you know what, in 2 years, I'll just upgrade to this phone that will be my phone and my PC. Because again, all I do is read emails and watch TikTok and things like I don't need the processing power to do anything more than that. So why do I need a tablet and a phone and a PC when I can just do all of them and have it on me at all times? Because that's the other thing too. Not everyone carries a huge backpack. Sometimes people just have a purse and have a pocket. And with these new trifolds and things like that, they can have all in one. The last thing we're going to get into are the robots. We had, and it's a fun section. We'll try and get through this quickly because I know we're running long, but we had the Onero H humanoid home robot.
Rosie the robot is real.
Yes, and she's kind of scary if these robots are anything to go by. She's not the chubby, friendly robot with sass, but the new Onero H, I believe. Let me see if I have any specs on it. It's physical specs of a height of 120 to 130 centimeters. It weighs about 35 kilograms. Its degree of freedom is about 20 to 32 inches per hand. Payload capacity of 5 kilograms. You should be able to get about 4 to 6 hours per charge out of this robot with a max speed of 3 kilometers per hour wheelbase. It does have 5 fingers independently actuated and a thumb, so it can pick up things and do things. Its biggest selling point at CES was folding laundry. Its mobility is wheel-based for safe and stable navigation. So this thing is not climbing stairs. So in the event that this robot turns on you like Megan, go up some stairs. You should be safe. What are your thoughts on this robot in particular by Onero?
Pretty cool. I get that these are specialized devices, so you can't really predict what they're going to do. As I'm watching the video here that we've got playing for those that are watching, I'm sure they're compatible with certain washers and dryers. I'm sure they're compatible with certain situations. I'm sure they're compatible with certain towels and washcloths, etc., etc. But this is the next step, as we have said a lot. This is the next step in technology to where you go to work and you hit the button on your robot, or you wait till you get to work and the robot's got a camera, and you can see what the robot's up to. And, you tell that robot, hey, go fold my laundry. And for us, for the men and women out there, husbands and wives, that could lead to less arguments and a much happier household if the robot is taking care of some of these things. So there's benefits here.
I don't know. I saw that movie with Megan Fox where she was a robot. That led to a lot of problems in the marriage, but that's a different story for a different time.
What problems did it lead to in the marriage? That's the question.
I mean, it was a sex robot that almost killed the family. So if you guys want, we can join our other podcast where Microsoft Unbox reviews movies. For those of you who want to get a little more granular, It has multiple sensors, which are embedded in the hands, head, arms, and abdomen for depth and sensing. It has obstacle avoidance capabilities, designed to operate safely around humans and pets. It's ARM-based. You can connect through Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. It's a Linux-based system, so it won't shut down over an update. You got that going for you. It's cloud-enabled and has LLM integrations possible for advanced tasks. So it could be a living thing, like you buy this thing and it upgrades and integrates as time goes on. It also has the H1 OmniSense VLM system enabled, which obviously will help support real-time object recognition, task adaptation. So, if it's folding clothes a certain way, it can learn to fold them a different way. Multi-step household workflows, integrating with SwitchBot's smart home ecosystem. To your point, it integrates with other devices and collaborative operations with humans. That was all in the pitch deck. We'll see how it operates outside of the house. Outside of CES and demos, if and when this thing comes on market. Again, the CES, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't mean you're actually going to get a product. The other one that's competing for your house is the LG Cloud. Is that how you pronounce it? LG CLO lowercase ID home robot. This one in particular is backed by LG. So if you don't trust an Aero, you can go with LG. Their version has a head unit, integrated display, speakers, cameras, and central processing area, a torso capable of tilting and extending to adjusted heights, 2 articulated arms, each about 87 centimeters long with 7 degrees of freedom, 5-fingered hands. So again, you also get a thumb to help fold, because again, I think this is all these robots are going to be doing. With independent actuation for fine motor control. It's also wheel-based, so don't worry about going upstairs. And its height is around 1,050 millimeters tall. I think it can be at 1,400 millimeters max. So I guess if it needs to stretch for something, get those cereal boxes on the top shelf, I guess. It's designed to reach from floor level to countertop height with ease. And head unit has a primary interface enabling natural speech communication, facial expression-based interactions, personalized behavior through routine learning, and real-time coordination with LG smart appliances. So this will have, at least here in the US, a lot of support for those of us who do own LG devices. So I wonder how that's going to work. And it uses a Axiom electric actuator for, I guess, enabling some of the smooth precision and quiet movements around the house. So I don't know if I want a robot to be too quiet, though. That's, I can hear when my wife's coming up the stairs. That I do like having that ability. I don't know if I want this thing creeping up behind me, but what are your thoughts on this robot competing?
Well, can I have 30 seconds of fun here? One, I agree. I don't want the robot sneaking up behind me. Number 2, I think we're heading toward the emotional robot when the when the robot.
What were you saying?
I think I think when the robot gets emotional here, I think we're gonna have a problem. And I get it. You look at these robots and go, okay, you've got a computer operated device here to perform a task for you. I understand that. I get the logic behind that. We've had robot vacuum cleaners and, things like that for years. Are we becoming?
This one reminds me of Short Circuit, though. This one looks more like Johnny.
Yeah, that one looks more like Short Circuit to me, and I'm concerned. Well, think about a household. In a lot of households, husband and wife share the cleaning duties. They share the household duties. Some houses, they don't. Some the husband does it all. Some the wife does it all. I think we're almost going to become too reliant on stuff like this to do our daily task, and in the end, it's going to end up hurting things like relationships, and how the dynamic of households operate. Because I think some people your wife looks forward to fussing at you because your pants are on the floor next to the hamper and you didn't put it in the hamper. I think for some people, that's banter between husband and wife. It's not an argument. It's banter between the two, and well, my clothing wasn't folded right. Well, the robot did it. Don't blame me. So, and there's personal touch to laundry, and there's personal touch to how some people like their clothing or how we like certain items of clothing folded. I get it. There's a place for it. Is it mainstream to where I go buy a robot at Best Buy and suddenly I, have something to help clean my house and fold my laundry? I don't think we're there yet, but I don't think we're too far away from it.
For those of you watching, this isn't actually at CES. This is a movie, but this is the movie I was mentioning called Subservience. This is the Megan Fox robot that causes all kinds of family problems. So if you get a chance to go, if you want to have a little fun, I think this is streaming somewhere. I'm not sure where, but for those of you who are cynical about robots, this is your movie. This is that and Megan are two examples of why people shouldn't be indulging in these robots. We're going to end on a realistic note. I know we were just joking about the sex robots and stuff like that, but here's a robot that you're not going to have sex with that actually gets stuff done and will probably be out before any of these other robots are even produced in small quantities. This is I think it's called Roborock Saros Rover Stair Climber. This is basically a Roomba that can now climb stairs. So, we're just talking about, don't worry about the robots that are wheel-based because they can't chase up stairs. This thing can, but hopefully it will only do it to help clean up your floor. This is the first robot vacuum that can climb stairs and clean them as it goes. It can climb traditional curved and carpeted stairs, including bull-nose steps. It can clean each step by bracing one leg below while rolling across the elevated surface and then bringing the next leg up. It can ascend 5 large steps in roughly 30 to 40 seconds. That's pretty quick. While maintaining balance and suction, descend ramps. It can also go back downstairs. That's even more impressive. And perform controlled hops to navigate down. I don't know about the hops. That doesn't sound good to me. Navigate hops to go downstairs as well. What are your thoughts on this one? Because I feel like this is going to be the one that actually comes out of CES, and that's going to
be this will be the one that people buy, because I think there's a lot of reality to this where I think a lot of people are buying these robot vacuum cleaners. I know a lot of people that have bought robot vacuum cleaners over the past few years. I have a robot vacuum cleaner. So I think, 2-story houses is where the robot vacuum cleaner misses out, because you have to take it upstairs manually, and then it retrains, based on what it sees upstairs and what it encounters. And when you take it back downstairs, the training is off. So you have to kind of start it over each time you use it. So now that you've got one that will climb stairs, I think this makes it out of CES. This makes it into production, whether it be iRobot, the folks behind Roomba that Amazon owns, that recently declared bankruptcy, if you did not know. I think this is where the Eufys, the iRobots, and, the Dysons will make this, and it will become, what people purchase. Now, being someone that has seen it, wheelchairs have been climbing steps for a few years. I'm surprised it took this long to get a vacuum cleaner that would climb steps.
Yeah, it seems like this was it should have been on the docket as soon as Roombas got massively adopted.
Yeah, this should have already been done, I think.
I agree with you. It obviously comes with AI algorithms, motion sensors, 3D spatial mapping, Starlight 2.0 autonomous navigation with dual flash LiDAR enabled. Its cleaning performance, I think it has 19,000 PA suction power, optimized for vacuum only operations, ability to clean each stair step during ascent and descent, smooth rolling motions for consistent debris pickup, and designed to dedicate as dedicated vacuum. No mopping system involved, and at least not in these. It can also pivot and avoid things in the demo that we're seeing on the video. It looks pretty impressive. It has integrated wheel legs, no external attachments required, so you don't need to your point, fix it to go upstairs or downstairs. It can kind of do it on its own. It has a large flat body designed for stability during climbs. Ability to reorient itself after a fall, which I think that'll be interesting too, especially when it's descending. And it can demonstrate dancing and synchronized movements with other Saros units. Again, this is only CES kind of stuff. So that is our CES coverage, ladies and gentlemen, for 2026. And that's just the brief stuff we did for the podcast. You can go visit the website, Microsoft Unboxed, for all the details for other things that we covered, and we'll be covering more stuff because there's so many other things from the non huge names that are still coming out that are being announced throughout the rest of this weekend. With that being said, where can people go find you if they want to hang out with you, talk to you, game with you?
David PAJ 1978, and absolutely on the blue sky after everything we've talked about here on the pod and everything going on over at X. I think it's just, you're not going to find me over there. I do read over there because there's other things that I'm interested in. That's where where you get your news from. But go find me on Blue Sky, David PAJ 1978. I'm streaming now 3 days a week. Feel free to jump in, ask me what am I playing. I don't mind friend requests. If you want to ask what gamer tags and things like that are, I don't mind. You're welcome to come jump in. I don't take my competitive gaming very seriously. I just make me a drink, pick up a controller, and have some fun. We may go 30 minutes, may go 3 hours. It just all depends,
You can find me at Happy Hulk on Blue Sky. Again, I haven't been to X or Twitter or Threads in about a year, maybe a little longer than that. And I don't see myself going back, obviously for obvious reasons. You can also find me at Kareem and David on Threads. I try not to be there too much because I also have issues with Meta, but there are things I like to go do on there. I do request that anybody who wants to interact with me do so as though we were meeting in real life. So again, yes. I'm not asking you to be overly nice. If you're an a-hole in real life, be an a-hole online as well. It's fine. But don't be overly aggressive as though we would never meet, because who knows? It's a small world. With that being said, we will see you guys next week. We have big things in store for the website, for our podcast. We would like to involve you guys more into it. So maybe we can start figuring out if we can get some listener questions available. If you want to, you can find us on the different podcasting apps like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, and wherever else you get your podcasts. Maybe they have some areas where you can write questions in. If not, add them to any of the articles that you read on our website or the contact us page. We look forward to doing more with you guys in 2026. Until then, have a great week. Go out and enjoy your life. Go enjoy the things that you enjoy the most. Any of the new things that you got, if you're here celebrating Christmas or not. Any things that you returned and got money for, credit for the things that you wanted to get. Go enjoy those as well. Just make sure that the person who gave you a gift that you returned doesn't see it. We will see you guys next week.
Have a good weekend, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.